Historic first transgender Mr. Ramrod discusses leather, community, and what's next. This week is Transgender Awareness Week, and in honor of the T in our LGBTQ plus community, Queer News Tonight and the Happening Out television network, we will be broadcasting live from S.F.Bishop Makalani Mahee Transgender Equality Awards with an all-transgender cast this week. We are also proud to spotlight other members of our local community who are creating positive change, including the new Mr. Ramrod 2023 James Tyrcha. Recently, Queer News Tonight anchor David Hopkins sat down with James to discuss the leather community, the community at large, and how being the first transgender Mr. Ramrod can help inspire others.
Ramrod Bar is famous here in South Florida as the oldest leather bar in Florida and one of the oldest in the Southeast. Since 1995, they've held the Mr. Ramrod Contest, a competition that celebrates members of our local leather community. After a 2-year hiatus due to the pandemic, the competition returned last month, and I am proud to welcome our Mr. Ramrod 2023, James Tyrcha, to Queer News Tonight. How are you this evening?
Good evening. How are you, David?
I'm great to have you. It's great when my social life and my work life can blend together. James is a brother of mine in the community. We've known each other for years. We do a lot together with charity work. And, it's good to have that here. And, as a Leatherman, explain to our viewers what being a Leatherman, being part of the leather community means to you.
Well, being a Leatherman is definitely a lot more than just wearing leather. It is a lifestyle. It's who you are. It's your community. It's everything involved. It also involves, if there's an old guard and new guard, they both have the same values with different leather these days.
And for the viewers who don't know, just a quick clarification, what would you consider old guard, or how would you define old guard versus new guard?
Old guard is very military style. It's very strict. It's got high integrity. It's got authority. It's basically like being in boot camp in a way. It's very hardcore, and they follow the rules. They follow tradition and history. The new guard is a little bit different. It's not as strict, but they do follow the same values. However, what is traditional leather is wearing a mirror cap, leather jackets, and formal leather attire, vests, all the time, and flagging and Levi jeans. Nowadays, you see people in glamish style leather, colorful harnesses, puppy gear. It's all over the place, and that's wonderful. But that's like the vast difference between old guard, new guard, as far as a visual aspect. What we are as Leathermen and our community, when we come together, we do fundraisers, we help each other, we're there for each other. That all is the same as a Leatherman.
So it's saying new guard focuses on a wider variety of fetish, whereas old guard is more structured, military, like you said, and you are a military veteran, correct? So,
right.
Yeah, so you know that firsthand.
Right.
So why, you're a barber as well?
I get to give head all day long.
Nah. So why did you, how do being a Leatherman and a barber reconcile with each other? I feel like they're not necessarily connected, but could be.
Yes, barbering is quite a fetish as well. I'm on the app, Scruff and everything, and I have myself as my barber, and I get clients that way. However, I do get people who are into the fetish of being tied up and have their head shaved, and it's the scents that come along with the barber side and shaving cream and the razor. That's a kink. People are into knife play and all kinds of stuff like that, and that kind of follows suit with that. So it turns people on. People like to be, I guess, manhandled and touched. It's kind of sexy. But my job, I'm a professional barber. I do not associate my job, my career at all with being a Leatherman in that aspect. However, it makes me more of a sexier Leatherman to say I'm a barber. But yeah, I don't mix the two. I work a lot. I work long hours, and when I'm done with work, I'm done. I don't mix it.
Now, if someone's here in South Florida and they want to get a haircut and shave from you, where can they go?
Carvedbarbershop.com. We're located in Wilton, 5 Points, right after the tracks in the Wilton station in the retail section.
Okay.
And we are a brand new barbershop that just opened up in June. We're all highly experienced barbers that have been here in the Wilton, Fort Lauderdale area for quite some time.
And I've seen you have some extremely sexy coworkers in addition to yourself. So, yeah, if you like muscle boys and hot guys and great barbers, you can get it all there. Yeah. So I know that as part of your winning Mr. Ramrod, you've said that you want to help grow the leather community. And what do you mean by that, and how do you foresee that coming along?
My whole platform is the building the community. It's so important because we're going to get old and we're going to be gone one day, or we're not going to be going out as much, and we need to replace ourselves in a sense, or we need to grow ourselves so that there are people that can continue our legacy and our journey. Otherwise, we're going to fade away. And under my watch, I'm not going to let that happen, period. It is so important. You know, I see so many, as Ramrod, as a traditional leather Levi bar, it is very hyper masculine. It is growing so much. I've been in South Florida from Chicago for 6 years now, and I've seen drastic change from the day I walked into that bar. And now you have everything. You got trans people, non-binary people, every color, race, and creed, from fat to skinny, old, young. It's a mixture of everything. And years back, that wouldn't have been as accepted. People would talk about it and ask these people to go away, and it was very uncomfortable for anybody. Nowadays, it's really changed. And I think I'm a big part of that. I've been told by a lot of the people that I know there, thank you, James, for just being here. You're such an integral part of Ramrod, and we're glad that you are representing our bar now. And one of my best friends, I don't want to put names out there without permission here, he and I were there all the time. And what we do specifically when we see the weird kid that walked in a polo and flip-flops and looks completely lost, we go up to that person and we buy him a drink and we ask him to come and sit with us and ask him what brought him there. He could have said he stumbled from the wrong bar. Okay, so be it, we're gonna have a little fun. Or he could be like, you know, I have fantasized about leather for so long. I think it's hot. I think you guys are hot. I like all this stuff and I don't know where to start. And we teach them, we guide them. That's how this community is built.
And I, as a person who's part of the leather community here, I feel like South Florida is one of the few places in the country that still has a growing leather community. And a lot of it has to do with Ramrod, who's been there for 28 years, and also the Eagle, which is right on the drive. So they kind of suffer not being able to be the more traditional leather bar, but it becomes a great way for people to have a place. They may have bought a leather harness on a cruise and they want to get more involved. And it has become like the place people can go as like their introduction to leather and the leather community and meet more people. And Ramrod is one of the only bars I know of in the entire country that still has a regularly occurring enforced dress code night, which is you're now in charge of hosting that. So what do you think of that kind of aspect of our community?
I think it's fantastic. Any opportunity, whether it's Eagle or whether it's Hunters doing a leather night, or Alibi they were doing a leather night.
Yeah.
Gym Bar is a sports bar, which is a fetish as well, which is also involved with Pig Week and everything. There's a large amount out there. It's every opportunity to bring to the table, basically. Mm-hmm. So.
And what community activities are you involved in? I know you do cigar socials. Tell us about some of that.
I need to clone myself because I don't have enough of James to give away sometimes. And it's, you know, one of the weaknesses I have is prior was saying no. I've learned to overcome that weakness. And sometimes you just got to say, no, I can't be in two places at once, or I need to sleep for one. But yeah, I'm involved in a lot. I'm involved with the Cigar Social. I'm part of Mama's Family. We have the Sandy Mama Helping Hands Foundation here, which we're getting ready to do a fundraiser for that for the holidays. I'm involved in charity work, fundraisers. I participate in all the other, Mr. Eagle Wilton Manors. I volunteer my time. Being here, there's only been here 6 years and I've done so much. You travel back to Chicago, I started so much. I started a website for the trans male community. I worked in the bar industry, so it was even easier being more involved working in the bars because you could do a lot more.
You're already there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for people who may not know, Mama's Family is a national organization. Can you describe it a little bit for our viewers?
So currently right now there's approximately 2,700 members globally. It's not just here in the US. I mean, we got people, I think there's somebody in Australia as far as that. And what that is you're inducted into Mama's Family. And a little bit about Mama briefly. She's been around doing work for about 30, 40 years. And when the AIDS crisis happened, she opened her home to people that were living with HIV that were literally tossed into the streets. They were sick and nobody knew what was going on. And she provided a bed for them to sleep in, clothing, medication, toiletries. And that was the beginning of Mama's Foundation. And she started the family, and you get this pin, which is right here on my vest. I'm Mama's Trans Man. Everybody has a name, from Mama's Jello Shot Boy to Mama's Starlit Sky, whatever it is. That's your name and your image. And what we do as family members, we do fundraising, especially during the holidays, and there's stuff throughout the year that's done. And all that goes to her foundation, which provides medicine, food, diapers, toiletries, everything in the form of Target gift cards or grants to people living with HIV or LGBTQ youth. And she's based out of San Francisco now. She is a legend, and Mr. Eagle Wilton Manors, Corey Dave in 2020, he started the Mama's Helping Hands Foundation, which became a 501c here, which was presented by the mayor of Wilton Manors at the Eagle last year. And Corey had me inducted a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I became part of Mama's Family officially, and I've been helping raise money for all these families since that day.
Yeah, I've met her a couple times, and she's small in stature and huge in personality. I love her.
Exactly.
And you've mentioned that you are a trans man. Yes. I've mentioned on the show before, I'm the vice president of Lambda Men's Brotherhood, and we do the annual Leather Mask Ball. And you were one of my models a couple years ago for our advertisements, and we received a lot of flack for having a person with transgender experience on the ads at first, and then everybody stopped caring. So what has your experience as a man with a transgender experience, and the first Mr. Ramrod, who's a trans man, what has it been like, and the visibility, what does that mean to you?
Well, this is the first I'm hearing that there was flack.
Yeah, it wasn't from the locals.
I don't hear flack.
The locals know you.
I'm just James. That's what I tell you. Everybody knows me. If you know I'm trans, you know I'm trans. I have no problem sitting down and educating people about it. It gets old after a bazillion conversations. But I am a gay man that happens to be trans. I don't live my life as a transgendered person. Some people do. That's fine. Everybody has a choice to how they're going to run their life and their image. Mm-hmm. I'm just a gay man that happens to be trans, and it's very well known. I'm well known enough I don't need to go around wearing on my forehead. I don't really encounter any issues for it. I think I can count on my hand and my whole life I've had a problem with being trans. I never really transitioned. I grew up male my whole life. I knew it at 3 years old, and I presented male since then. I had a brief moment, through high school where I was confused between sexuality and gender, and and again, sexuality and gender are separate. I'm a gay man that has nothing to do with my gender. Who I'm attracted to has no bearing on my gender. You couldn't have gay or straight if that was the case. But that's very important to remember, because some people ask, I'm just me. And if somebody has a problem with it, that's their problem. It's not my problem. It really isn't. But I'm fully transitioned. I'm not transitioning. So I see a lot of our members in our trans community that catch a lot of flack that are transitioning. So your first 5 years, it's like going through puberty. It's very awkward. You look all over the board. You know, some days you look more masculine or feminine or this or that, or it's a transition. It's just like puberty. When you were a young boy, your voice cracked, and then one day it's deep, and one day it's high. Other things are growing, everything's happening. It's the same thing. So just like in high school, everybody's picking on people, making fun of them as they're going through puberty, and it happens to trans people too, because they don't know if you're are you a boy, you're a girl, or you haven't had surgical removal of the chest surgery. I don't want to put a name on because everybody calls it something, boobs or chesticles or whatever. There's always a name for something. So
Gender confirmation
yes.
is...
And until you have your surgery, that makes it very awkward, so you could really conform to what your body image matches and aligns with your gender identity.
Yeah, as someone who's been in this community 10 years now down here in South Florida, I remember when you came to town, and I've seen a lot of changes towards acceptance. There's another individual who we both know who recently had his top surgery, and that's changed his outlook hugely. His confidence has gone through the roof. And the leather community seems to be very accepting of that. And you're going to compete for International Mr. Leather next year, which I'm so proud of you. That's awesome. And we've actually had 2 recent IML winners who are transgender, as well as an International Mr. Boot Black. What do you think the nationwide and global community, do you think it's evolving? Are there still holdovers towards acceptance?
Yes, there's still definitely a lot to work on. Last year at IML, there was a massive fiasco on Twitter. A person who was a trans male identified, might be non-binary, I'm not sure, but somebody of the trans community held a class at IML, and it was called, I think the term was gay male sex with a vagina. But he used the word vagina, which threw everybody for a loop. And people went, there was a lot of hate comments. It was really bad. It was a Twitter explosion. People condoning at IML, saying, what are we turning this? It was just terrible. I don't even want to repeat some of the stuff. However, our word choices are so important. At Claw in 2016, I was my first Claw. And the following year, I had the first trans male class held at Claw, and now it continues. I have other guys that have continued the class for me. I started it, and I called Sexing the Gay Trans Man. I used masculine terms, the word man, sex. It was kinky. It was a good title for the class, and it's a very successful class. As far as I know, there was no backlash.
And for our viewers,
all.
Claw is Cleveland Leather Awareness Weekend. So yes, there's even big leather kinky events in Cleveland. Okay, so wherever you are, the community is there. And another person in our local community who is an adult performer who uses she/they pronouns identifies as femme non-binary, and I saw she recently got some hate messages from a member of the trans community because she does adult work. And she's well endowed and likes her penis. And so I feel like it's, even people who should know better are having trouble with the acceptance. So it's great to see the leather community embracing you, because you're family to me, as well as so many other people. What are your goals at IML?
To win. I'm going to win.
I think you are.
So. And Ramrod has a very good history at winning and placing in the top 4. We had Blade, who was 4th place this year. We had 2 members, 2005, Michael Edges, and sorry, my brain is like French fried. 98. Both of them won IML, and there are multiple members that have placed 2nd place year after year. It's got a good run and good history. And I'm excited. I'm going out there to do my best. I didn't choose to become Mr. Ramrod. I didn't choose to run for this title. My community chose me. I was asked by multiple, I can't even count how many people said, James, please run. You need to run. We need a leader. You're a good leader. Everything you do for the community is so important, and we need you. And it was the last day to sign up for Mr. Ramrod. And one of the bar staff members came and handed me an application, put it on the bar in front of me. I looked at the thing for about 10 minutes, and I was discussing, and people came up to me and they're like, do it. We need you. And I said, all right, give me the pen.
For those of you who've never been to a leather competition, it's much different than you would expect. I was the den daddy for Mr. Ramrod, which is kind of like the stage manager, helping the guys get dressed if they need to. The camaraderie is so different than most other contests or pageants. I know Matthew, who was first runner-up, has mentioned he plans on going to IML to assist you. I don't know if Jack has.
Yes, they're both going to be my roommates at the hotel.
Yeah, that's something you don't see in so much of the community. Like, there's so much support and uplifting, and no one was angry that James won. Like, it was a shared joy, and it was such a unique thing in the leather community, I think, that we have that community. Because coming out as kink is almost like another closet to come out of. You come out as gay, you come out as leather. There's so many closets to come out of. How many more closets do you have left?
Just my one in my bedroom. Yeah, the brotherhood is tremendous. And, this is not my first time going to IML. I went in 2016 and competed as Mr. Leather 6410, 2016. And the brotherhood that I had with the contestants then, I had with the same experience. It was more intense this time. When I ran back then, I knew nothing about being a I ran into that blind completely. I was just doing community work and was trying to do more, and bam, it happened. This time is way different, I have so much more experience, and it's so much more emotional and intense for me because I believe what my platform and our community and the whole heart that I'm doing this for my community, this has nothing to do with me. I could sit back and do all the same work I'm doing without this title of Mr. Ramrod. I don't need it. But I was chosen to do it, and now that makes me the official leader to really speak for our community and get the community the building blocks, the tools, and everything necessary to become stronger and bigger and grow and less toxic, because there's so many things that are bad out there, and we need a strong person to speak for that community.
Mm-hmm. So before we end the interview, if someone was looking to get into leather or fetish, what advice would you give them, South Florida or anywhere?
Come and see me. No, for real. There's so many tools and stuff out there for us. Visit your bar, go out for a drink one night and meet people. Go to Leatherworks. Go check out this. Even if you don't have the money to buy anything, just go in there. Go in there on the naked shopping day and get naked and just kind of browse. Even if you don't have a lot of money to spend, everybody needs lube. Buy a bottle of lube while you're there. Just get familiar with it. Get online and read. Get involved in the community. Ask where you can volunteer. There's so many opportunities. You can volunteer for the contests. Like there's the Mr. Eagle contest, there's Claw, there's MAL, even IML. You can, if you volunteer for these events, you get to attend for free, and you get to meet things, and you get to meet a lot of people, and you become that part of that brotherhood. Go to Pig Week. A lot of these people are there. That's coming up, starts the day after Thanksgiving. There's so many opportunities to get involved, and it's a great community.
And before we leave, somebody does want to reach out to you. What social media handles work best for that?
Facebook is my primary one. I go by James Barber on that. Instagram, I use that more or less for my work, but I can be reached through it, and that is Barber_James77. You could do message through text that way. That's the best way to get a hold of me, is message me on either one of those. I'm more apt to adding anybody on Instagram That's not a problem. Facebook's a little more personal. I try to add as many people as I can that are part of the community. I've been getting a lot of spam requests since this. It's kind of exploded since the title win. So
We're going to set you up with a title page for fans. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. It's so good to have you here. Like I said, combining my work life and my personal life, getting you out here. We can't wait to see you at IML and on that stage at that podium. And if you do have any questions, like I said, reach out to James, or you can just message Queer News Tonight on social media, and I can make sure he gets a hold of you. So thank you so much.
thank you.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out television network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.